we still got, what, how many games left? Like four games left. We still turning around, I believe.
Ravens flock. The flock rundown is the place to be.
Motionless brainwaves attempt to swim their way to sense, can't tame the untamed.
Ravens lose to the Steelers 27-22, lose control of the AFC North, and fall to 6-7 on the season with 4 games left. Brutal, frustrating loss. I mean, the Ravens in the first half didn't deserve to be in this game at all and weren't in this game. The Steelers had a multi-possession lead after the first half. The Ravens couldn't get anything going on offense at all, had a turnover. Lamar threw an interception. But the second half, offense came out swinging, got ignited, found a lot of success on the ground. Ravens ran for over 200 yards. And there's so many little mistakes that went into this loss, but I can't get out of my head how robbed I'm feeling after this game. And I never blame refs, and I still don't want to just say that this is solely about the refs' calls. But man, did the Ravens get robbed in some key situations. I mean, going all the way back to the Travis Jones unnecessary roughness coming up the middle on the field goal block, and then they end up getting a touchdown because of that call. I didn't honestly know what he did wrong at all. They said that he touched the other player's helmet coming through the gap. I mean, how many linemen just tap another? It just doesn't make any sense to me. And then the Rodgers interception by Teddy Buchanan, it was a nice, beautiful tip by Okoye. Rodgers kind of comes down with it with one hand as he's falling to the ground. Yes, his knee hits, but how does he have possession? Teddy Buchanan strips that from Rodgers. Teddy's got 2 hands on it. Rodgers is falling with one, and his knee hits the ground. They say he's got possession. Whatever. That turns into a non-interception. And then the Isaiah Likely catch, or not a catch, at the end of the game. This is 2 weeks in a row, by the way, that we've had touchdowns called back that we thought were touchdowns, but this one was worse than last week. Like, Likely did fumble last week going into the end zone against the Bengals. Zay did kind of push off last week on the offensive pass interference, but this week Likely caught the ball and takes 2 steps, but they're like, oh, you need a 3rd step in the end zone. But if that was on the sideline, if he put 2 feet down and then was still going forward, that probably would have been called a catch. It's just the fact that it was in the end zone. I really don't understand how that's not a catch. I don't think anybody in the NFL knows exactly what a catch is, including the refs. I mean, if you're just playing football and using your eye test, he had possession of that ball. He took multiple steps, but you're now just saying, oh, well, he needs to take another one. He needs a 3rd step for that to be a catch. It just feels insane, honestly, and I feel like we got robbed. Not to say that we played well enough to deserve that win. So I don't want to take anything away from the Steelers. They changed their offensive game plan up quite a bit, especially in the first half. They had a lot of success on go routes. DK Metcalf was killing us. He had a big catch on Marlon Humphrey to start the game. Marlon got his get back, though, multiple times in the red zone. He shut DK down. And then DK had another go on Nate Wiggins. Awuzie got beat by Calvin Austin later in the game. And they had a lot of success with go routes. Rodgers was dialed in. We weren't able to generate a ton of pressure. Rodgers was, getting out of whatever immediate pressure there was and easily finding somebody downfield. So I thought Rodgers was smart and decisive through the air. The Steelers offense played well in this game, especially early on. Their defense played amazing in the first half. Couldn't stop the Ravens much at all in the second half. So it was a tale of 2 halves right there. But in the first half, I mean, they were blowing up the line of scrimmage. In that whole first half, the Ravens offense looked awful. Looked similar to how they've been starting for a month straight now. It just seems like the Ravens offense couldn't get anything going. There was a moment where the reporter got some inside information on the sideline, said Lamar came off, chucked his helmet, was yelling at Fa'alele, and Zay Flowers was screaming that they know everything we're doing.
Some frustration brewing on the Ravens sideline after that interception. Lamar threw his helmet. He then had a talk with right guard Daniel Fa'alele, who said they know it's coming every time. And then Zay Flowers came over as well, added to the discussion. It's just all hands on deck to try to get this offense going, guys.
That's how the entire first half felt. It just felt like the Steelers were blowing up the line of scrimmage. There was no threat of Lamar running. I saw TJ Watt just straight line crashing opposite end over to Derrick Henry, blowing up runs because Lamar Lamar, all he had to do was pull it one time. If we would have had a read option, Lamar had 30, 40 yards of field wide open, but he wasn't taking it. He's obviously still banged up a little bit. Saw a little more running in the second half. He did have a keeper in the second half. That was wide open, by the way, but Steelers were selling out to crash the run game, and they blew it up in the first half. But the second half, the Ravens came out, mixed the bag up, and had a great offensive performance. I mean, came to life in the second half. Defense led up a drive early on where I felt like we weren't playing complimentary football. They ended up tightening up too, and the Ravens offense continued to roll. I think they had 4 straight scoring drives, and then that likely touchdown that was called back, and then we don't end up getting any points on that drive. That would have been a 5th scoring drive, man. Like, the Ravens were balling in the second half. That's the offense that we've been waiting for, hitting big shots downfield to Zay, getting the running game going with Keaton, who ended up getting hurt with a knee injury on that big run. But Derrick Henry also got going. I mean, we ran 40 times for 217 yards. That's a great day on the ground. Derrick Henry had 25 carries for 94 yards, which isn't the best average, but a lot of that was in the first half too. We were getting some decent runs in the second half. Keaton Mitchell, 6 for 76. Lamar Jackson ran 7 times for 43 yards and a touchdown. Through the air, Lamar Jackson was 19 of 35 for 219 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, was sacked twice. Unfortunately, one of those sacks couldn't happen at the very end of the game and did to end the game by Highsmith. Zay Flowers was by far the biggest target, 8 catches for 124 yards. He had 11 targets in this game. Isaiah Likely, 4 for 25 and a touchdown. Should be 2 touchdowns. Rashad Bateman, 2 for 23. He had that drop that probably would have been a touchdown. Charlie Kohler, 1 for 19. Rasheen Ali, 2 for 11. Mark Andrews not involved much at all in this one, 1 for 9. Derrick Henry, 1 for 8. Could be a lot more too. He had a screen that was wide open that Lamar just underthrew him a tiny bit. The Ravens had 420 yards of offense and only scored 22. You know, we got to finish more in the red zone. 2 for 6 in the red zone. That definitely played a huge role in this game. They've had red zone struggles throughout the entire season, and then that likely, you know, non-catch is just brutal, man. I'm sick over that call. We should be in the lead in that situation, putting the defense out there to go win a game, but that's not what was called. That's not what happened. And the Ravens lose to the Steelers, man. Congrats to Pittsburgh for now. Still 4 games left. You never know. Definitely do not love what I saw from the Ravens in the first half. It was more of the same. You know, Fa'alele, not a good game at all. Looked lost on multiple times. Even when the corner beat him on the one play, I was like, this is unbelievable, man. But we've been dealing with this for 2 straight years now, and the offensive line is definitely not a strength on this team. But with all that, the Ravens were balling in the second half and should have won this game still. Taking a look at Pittsburgh, Rodgers had a good game, 23 of 34 for 284, 1 touchdown, no turnovers. They didn't do anything on the ground. They had 34 total yards on the ground. Gainwell led the way with 15, but I mean, they didn't even really try and run. Only 17 carries for 34 yards. And then Metcalf through the air, especially early on, 7 catches for 148 yards. He definitely was a problem through the air. Jaylen Warren on that pass in the flat for a touchdown. That was just a blown coverage. Ravens were bringing the house. Nobody picked up the running back. He ended up getting 3 catches for 49 yards and that touchdown. Calvin Austin, 1 for 31. Gainwell had 6 catches for 27 yards. Definitely would have liked to see the defense force more turnovers, get more pressure. I thought they did have a turnover with that Teddy strip off Rodgers off the Okoye deflection, but they said Rodgers had possession and ruled him down. But that should have been a turnover in my opinion, but still need to force another turnover in this game. Steelers played smart, and especially once they got the lead, you know, they just didn't do anything to blow the game open and give the Ravens a chance, even though the Ravens offense was moving. The whole second half, the Ravens offense was moving, and I really thought we were going to win this game, man. It completely flipped. The momentum was in our favor, and then the likely no catch touchdown, can't get it on 4th down. It's just deflating. And there was a lot of little mistakes in this game that add up. Tyler Luke missed an extra point, also kicked the opening second half kickoff out of bounds. Voorhees had a holding call very late in the game on that last drive that started us back at 1st and 20. The Bateman drop, you know, I guess the likely drop or, not tucking it there to finish that catch throughout. I don't know, man. There's a lot of mistakes in this game that add up to this kind of tight loss. But if the Ravens didn't have such a brutal first half, they probably win this game. But you got to play the full game. The Ravens offense has struggled in first halves a lot of this year. Even in recent games, the Jets game a few weeks ago, we had 70 yards on offense in the first half, and then we kind of got it going again. And that's kind of how this Pittsburgh game was. We were dominated in the first half. Our offense couldn't really even move the ball. And then in the second half, our offense opens up. We're able to do pretty much whatever we want. We're running well. I mean, running for 217 yards is an accomplishment. That's what we wanted to do coming into this game, but only getting 22 points, turning the ball over, letting up some big plays over your head on defense, not getting a sack or turnover on defense, all that leads to a loss and just losing control of the AFC North. I mean, I do not have the tiebreaker currently over Pittsburgh. We'll see how it plays out. There's obviously multiple games here for both teams to play, but it ain't looking good. I can tell you that. 6-7. We're essentially 2 games back from the Steelers at this point, but we do play them again, and there's 4 games left. So I don't know how many they're going to lose. I don't know how many we're going to lose. We don't have an easy schedule. We got the Bengals next week, who are pretty much eliminated. They just lost to the Bills. And then we have the Patriots, and then the Packers in Green Bay, and then the Steelers in Pittsburgh. None of those are easy games. The Ravens are going to have to be playing their best ball down the stretch. And if we can get more of what we saw from the offense in the second half, well, we can win all those games. But which Ravens offense, which team is going to show up consistently? That's been a problem all year. We've been extremely inconsistent, not playing complementary ball in the right moments. Like our offense gets going early in the second half, defense lets up a touchdown, then we finally started playing a little bit more complementary ball, but it just didn't go our way at the very end. First half, defense playing pretty well. I know they let up some big plays over their head, but if the offense didn't throw that interception, then the defense probably isn't letting up 17. I think the defense held their own in the first half outside of those big plays downfield to DK. But you're not seeing complementary ball at the same time on both sides of the ball. Special teams also let us down today, and you got to win in all 3 phases, man. You got to play a cleaner game. You can't turn the ball over. You got to get turnovers. You got to get pressure. These are simple things to win football games, and the Ravens didn't do that today, and the Steelers did. So, as robbed as I feel right now, the Ravens still didn't deserve to win the game. They didn't play good enough in the first half. They tried to come back and overcome a lot of mistakes in the second half. Kind of feels like how this season's going. We start out 1-5, making a ton of mistakes, having everything go wrong, and then boom, 5-game winning streak. We're back in it. We're back in full control, and then we lose back-to-back division games to the Bengals and Steelers in very important moments at home. And that's another factor, man. The Ravens are not defending home turf at all. It's almost like they feel uneasy at home, like the fans are just on their neck or something, and they just can't live up to the pressure because we are not performing. I mean, the Lions game in primetime, all black, we got embarrassed. We're primetime against the Bengals on Thanksgiving, we get embarrassed. This is a must-win game at home against Pittsburgh. I wouldn't say we got embarrassed, but we lost the game. And this is back-to-back losses to the Bengals and Steelers when the season's on the line. Not good, man. Not good. And you want to see more with your backs against the wall. I thought, what I saw in the second half was the Ravens I expected to see all game. But that first half was brutal for the offense. It just did not seem in sync. We just couldn't get anything going again. And it's been that way all season, man. Up and down, inconsistency, terrible offensive line play. Lamar's obviously still a little bothered by some injuries. He's not his prime version, even though we saw some doses of that in the second half. I thought Lamar dialed it up. He got locked in. Zay had a big game, but it's just not enough. You got to play like that consistently throughout. You got to play a clean game throughout. You can't just have sparks and moments. And the Ravens just aren't doing it enough. They're not playing good football enough. But there's 4 games left. We'll see how it all plays out, man. I mean, it's not over by any means. It's not over till it's actually over. When the Ravens are eliminated from the playoffs and have no chance, then we can start looking at mock drafts or something. But until then, man, it's wide open still. The odds are a lot less, no doubt. I'm feeling way less confident about it, but it's not over. The Ravens still have a chance to go win the division. They can just win out, and I think they win the division. So, I mean, there's definitely still possibility here, but yeah, we're going to have to play a lot better football quickly. And it's hard to trust that they're going to do that. But let me know what you guys are thinking about this game and just the season moving forward. I'm sure most people are just going to say the season's over and we have no chance, which I understand why you're feeling that way for sure, man. I'm not happy about this Ravens season overall. I mean, who would have thought we'd be 6-7 sitting here? I mean, I didn't think Lamar would miss a month either and we'd have a ton of injuries, but regardless, we're 6-7. We've been healthy here for about over a month and still not playing great, consistent football, which sucks. It does, man. It's been a tough season. But let me know what you guys are thinking. Appreciate you guys, as always, for tuning in to another episode of the Flock Rundown. Have a beautiful rest of your night. And I'll let the greatest linebacker in the history of the game take us out.
Ravens Flock. The Flock Rundown is the place to be. My man Ryan has been a lifelong Ravens fan since he was born. So I'm telling you now, it's about to go down. The podcast, the Flock Rundown. Ravens, baby. Nothing gets better than waking up and wondering how high we can fly.